Good morning, everybody. This is Al Stasch. Welcome back to Uptown Villa Park. Sorry we got the show started for Angie Rojek and Pioneer Garden and Feed and preempted that, but that's just the way things work out. I mean, we're not on a schedule. We're all retired, and this is the way we do things. And I have my special guest here. Look who's back, Sid.
Hello, everybody, and hello, Al and Dennis, and it's a pleasure to be here.
I just checked to make sure you're on TV, Sid. You're on TV, and look at that sporty tie you got on today.
That's an old VFW tie that we had used at years back. We had all the bartenders wear them down at the club.
Really?
And promoting the VFW. And by the way, I must compliment you, Al, on making those beautiful, beautiful public service announcements about the VFW. Well, and the fish fry and everything that we do.
Valentine's Day dinner's coming up, yeah?
Yes, and it's just... I just can't get over how good you're doing this thing.
Well, keep it up. I like when you talk like that.
It's good for your ego, right?
Yeah. And hey, we got another guy here. Look at him over there. Dennis Keating's with us.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Yeah, same to you. Are we going out together, you and I?
Yeah, we are. We are going to party.
We're going to go to the VFW. I'll tell you all about it in a little bit.
Okay.
But here, listen. We got a whole bunch of stuff to talk about. Yeah, we don't have a guest today. We don't need a guest. Look at look at it. There's Dennis. There's Sid. That's all you need.
And you're here too. You got the sheet of paper.
Yeah, I got paperwork.
I have one quick question for Sid.
Ask Sid.
2801, what does that mean, Sid? Tell me.
2801 was a post number designated back and given to Villa Park VFW back in 1935 when they were first installed and inaugurated or what have you into the VFW. And we have been a post 2801 ever since that date.
How many posts are there in the VFW? Do you have any idea?
I don't have an idea. We have lost many in the last few years. Unfortunately, our biggest event was with the World War II vets, and boy, there's an awful lot are gone.
Well, there's quite a few Vietnam veterans out there. Are they involved now?
Yes, they are. There's some that, some of our guys, especially in the bar, gave them a hard time when we were coming back from Vietnam, and but we got many back, and we've been very fortunate in that we've had probably maybe close to a dozen that have run through the chairs.
And run through the chairs means they were part of the operating officers of the.
To go through the chairs, you hopefully. You're in the chairs for 3 years, junior, senior, and then commander. It doesn't always work that way, but that gives you an idea of what to do and gives you an education in the post. This year, and the last several years, we've had Vietnam vets as commanders. And Tim Connolly this year
the current commander,
is a Vietnam vet.
Excellent, excellent, yeah. Well, we've got lots of stuff to talk about in terms of the VFW. I'm glad you brought that up, because now we know why you're wearing that 2801 tie, which is awesome. Is that called a bolero?
No, this would be just a plain old string tie. And the shirt I have on would be clasped in little bits of a fake pearl and that for buttons, so that it would be Western type more.
Okay.
Which reminds me to tell you and to brag a little bit that for
what
years,
did I do, Dennis?
For years I called barn dances, square dances, Allemande left with your left hand, and had a very good time doing it, and made at the time sarsaparilla money.
Good for you.
That's a euphemism, folks. Sarsaparilla means something more stronger than a soft drink.
Well, there was some, I won't mention the names, but they still commercials like in Super Bowl. And
let's talk about, what a great segue. Let's talk about Super Bowl. Yesterday, or 2 days ago, there was a Super Bowl in Santa Clara, California. And we'll get to your comment in a second. And in that Super Bowl, the Denver Broncos beat the Carolina Panthers, and they had an enormous halftime show. And I got to tell you, I got to boast a little bit. My son and my grandson were at the game. They were in the stands, and they're on the 15-yard line, 14 rows off of the field, which is pretty far back because of the dimensions of the field. And they had a tremendous time. My grandson is 8 years old, and he had all of the pre-Super Bowl festivities that he took part in. He was doing drills with former Super Bowl champions, current NFL players, Notre Dame college football players. Got to see the Golden Gate Bridge. Never saw a mountain before. It's the first time he's seen the mountains. And he did it all with his dad, my son. And they were there because my son got that as compensation for the job that he works at. It was a bonus for the efforts that he did back last year, so congratulations on that. But have you guys seen the prices, the concession prices at Super Bowl?
Yes.
Do you know how much is a glass of wine at the VFW, Sid?
Oh, about $3, $4.
$3, $4? Okay.
At the most. That's
Super
high-end.
Bowl, $18 for one glass of wine.
How much is a bag of peanuts?
I don't know a bag of peanuts, but
$7, small bag.
$7 for a small bag, probably the one that you'd get on an airline flight.
And how about a box of popcorn?
How much?
$15.
$15 for a box of
I
popcorn.
don't know how big the box is, but I don't think it's very big.
Yeah.
Well, you could to go there. You couldn't carry any singles, 5s, or 10s. You had to have 20s or above.
You got to use
Yeah.
a credit card.
Yeah. Forget cash. Just slide the
Everything
card.
in the whole stadium was credit cards.
Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Things have changed.
Oh,
Good
God.
old, dollar bills. They're what do you need them for? It's like pennies.
He didn't pay for his ticket, but what did his ticket cost?
The street price tickets were value of the buying the tickets should you be able to do so, which you can't because they submit them to all of the teams and corporations and season ticket holders get tickets and they buy them, and they're run about $1,200 average per ticket, which is just crazy.
And
Also, let me finish. And also, the brokers that now get the tickets, they're not scalpers. They're people that provide services. They get tickets and they sell them for the value that they're worth. And the tickets, the seats that they were in, were worth between $18,000 and $20,000 each. Each.
And
Look
you can
at
sit in your
Sid's
seat, any seat in the stadium, and you can, on your phone, order food. They bring it to you. Any seat in the stadium.
Yeah, yeah.
Imagine that.
Let's go next year. What do you say, Sid?
I think that's a great idea.
You get a
I'm gonna have
pension
to
or
stay
something, don't
alive
you?
and healthy.
You get a pension. We could pay for it out of your pension.
Well, I'd have to start saving 2 years ago.
Do you know if you were to win the $5,000 prize at Bingo Tuesday night, you could sit in a Super Bowl seat for 1 quarter?
1 quarter.
Wow. I suppose that would have to be the first quarter, though.
Yeah.
Not the last quarter.
No, that's too expensive. That's the big game time. Well, it was fun to watch. I enjoyed it. People say, what a lousy game. Hey, Super Bowl. They were the second highest rated Super Bowl in terms of viewers. And the interesting thing also is they don't just use Nielsen ratings anymore, which say how many people were watching on their television set, because it was broadcast live over the internet. People were watching it from anywhere they wanted to on their cell phone or on their tablet or whatever it might be. So putting all those things together, just TV by itself, it was number 2 related to last year, but adding in all of the other options for how to watch it, it was one of the most popular Super Bowls ever, in spite of the score and the way the outcome of the scoring happened, which was mostly defense. But Peyton, the quarterback for Denver, was able to get enough offense to get field goals kicked and score put on the board, and the other team not so much.
Well, you know, the thing there, Denver's defense was super good. What's his name?
Fantastic.
Was the most valuable player.
Yeah.
A defensive
player,
lineman
right.
that got in and he sacked Newman a couple of times.
Yeah.
And forced him to fumble.
Yeah.
Those fumbles just don't happen. They're just not drop balls. They're
They're taken away. They're taken away.
Yeah.
You know, one of the things that I saw, if you watched the game, was the pregame where they announced and introduced to the field as many MVPs, most valuable players of former Super Bowls, that they could. Guys like Joe Namath from Super Bowl III or whatever it was from the New York team. And Bart Starr was at home. Bart Starr, the former quarterback for the Green Bay Packers, Super Bowl #1 and 3, whatever. But they went right down the line and introduced all of them and brought them out on the field. And I thought that was just awesome. If you're a big football fan, you saw the history of football
Al,
in that one presentation.
Al, let me tell you that right now, just talking about it, I'm getting goosebumps.
Yeah,
it was so exciting to me to see these people. I didn't realize that, or emotional. To see all these guys and say, oh man. Now, Joe Namath also owned a tavern down in Fort Lauderdale, and my nephew knew him and was a car hiker, a valet for him.
Oh, really? That's cool. Was it in the Keys or was it in Miami?
Fort Lauderdale.
Oh, Fort Lauderdale. Okay. Yeah, very popular spot. Especially coming up, spring break's going to be coming up pretty soon, so that's a good spot. But yeah, it was great to see those players. And Peyton Manning, say what you will about his current status as a quarterback, he still won the Super Bowl as the quarterback, and he played throughout the entire game. Sure, he didn't score or throw touchdowns or do anything fantastic, but in his career, that was his 200th victory.
200th victory, and the man is
nobody else has done it.
39 years old.
Pardon?
He's 39 years old.
Yeah.
And that's a very young man's game. Because you get bounced around, especially in that professional football league. There is no quarter.
Yeah.
Well, you see the old quarterbacks that came on the field,
right
from the open. A lot of them are hurting bad.
Yeah, well, we're going back 50 years.
Yes, I mean, they're hurting. They're hurting from playing that game.
Yeah.
Game.
And I remember Joe Namath, Broadway Joe.
Yeah.
And he still looks good.
Yeah, still looks good. One of the funny videos, and I hope you guys get a chance to see this, is Eli Manning, Peyton Manning's brother, also quarterback in the NFL, was in one of the suites. And somebody had a camera on the suite at the moment of the final second when his brother now had won Super Bowl. And the family's up yelling and screaming, and the kids are jumping up and down. And Eli Manning's just like, I mean, this is the expression he's got on his face, like, oh my God, I'm going to have to listen to this for another Thanksgiving dinner. Oh, this is terrible. Brother-sibling rivalry exists no matter how old you get. And it's funny. It's funny.
Can you imagine how Papa Manning feels?
Yeah.
2 sons were at the top of their trade.
Yeah.
In popularity and in good
success,
in successfulness.
Yeah, they've both been in the Super Bowl, so that's awesome.
Boy, if it was mine, I'd be popping buttons. I wouldn't have a button left on a shirt.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of reasons to be proud of people, and I want to compliment some of our local first responders because they did something and got recognized for it from Elmhurst Hospital recently, and that is the Call of the Month. And what happens is, for about 4 years, maybe a little bit longer, Elmhurst Memorial Hospital, now Edward Elmhurst Memorial Hospital, does an evaluation of ambulances that come into their emergency room and looks at several things. The ability of the paramedics and the first responders to gather information at the scene for a person that's seriously hurt, and also to communicate that en route to the hospital, and what they provide in terms of care to the individual before they come to the emergency room. And then the outcome in the emergency room is part of it, but typically what they do is look at something called full arrest, which is a person who has a heart problem. Their heart is no longer pumping appropriately, and they may be unconscious, not responding, and they call that a full arrest. And that's really a all hands on deck situation. I mean, all of our fire department will respond, but typically the police department is there first. So that's why I referred to this as a first responder award. And there were 3 individuals that received this award in Station 81 recently from Elmhurst Hospital, along with the officials from Edwards Elmhurst Hospital, and a couple of emergency room staff people. And that was Lieutenant Jamie Bickley, firefighter Mike Tenorelli, and firefighter paramedic Todd Gutzmer, also firefighter paramedic Mike Tenerelli. And not pictured in that picture that you'll see on Facebook was Dave Richardson, also a firefighter paramedic who was on the scene and doing that. And I bring all this up because, first of all, we need to thank them for that support. They were able to save a person that had a cardiac arrest, full arrest, and got them to the hospital alive, which is almost impossible to do. And why was it possible to do? I talked to one of the lieutenants, at least got some information, and they explained the reason why that person was able to be revived was because of CPR being done before they got there, and actually the use of a AED, which is the defibrillator device that you see in public buildings, etc. And then, of course, you have to take it from there and actually do what paramedics do, which is to give them the right meds, give them the right continued care, and transport them appropriately. So full credit to the firefighters and paramedics, but also credit to the police department, Villa Park Police Department, who did the CPR to start with and who used their AED that they had in a vehicle that they brought to the scene in the squad car. So that also tells everybody out there, I have a tag here that says I am certified for CPR and use of an AED, and I got that training from our Villa Park Fire Department.
Okay.
And anybody can get that training. Anybody can go to the fire department, and there is a fee for that training because it is significant training, and be able to save a life. And there's nothing more complimentary that you can say to someone than you saved someone's life. You agree?
I agree with you, and you know what? I want to step back one step further back. You know, when you call 911, people, you know, they always say, well, they ask how many questions, and well, just get the help to me. Yeah. They're asking questions because they're giving it to the paramedics. Right. They're giving the paramedics, when they walk into your house or the police department, they have some knowledge of what's going on. And sure, in Chicago, we're having problems with the shooting. But the people come and say, my son's doing this and doing that, or he's got a gun. They, officers, before they get there, the dispatcher told them what's going on. Right. And you have to answer those questions, folks. Right. You know, you want the help, you got to help too. Right. And it's a two-way street. Yeah, and that brings up another thing, and I totally agree with you, because the communication that's going on between you and the dispatcher is parallel with the first responder on their way. But they got on the. They're already dispatched. They're gone. They're already dispatched. On the way. Plus, the radio traffic that you might hear if you have a scanner is just a small part of the information that they're getting. They have, in the fire units, in the paramedic units, in the squad cars, and in the fire engine, a display screen that gives them information about that location, the nature of the call, and anything else they need to know. For example, if they're, an individual at that location was combative, for example, with either the paramedics or the police department, they will tell them that. It's called an LSI. But also, there's another important thing, and I've taken advantage of this, and I hope you guys have too, is Smart 911. And what that means is, you guys both have cell phones with you, I do, but whether you're at home or in a car or wherever you're at, if you have taken advantage of Smart 911, there's a lot of information that you can provide ahead of time to the dispatcher that they can't even ask you about during the call. For example, what meds are you taking? Okay? Do you have a person that has a special medical situation, whether it's a bracelet that says I'm diabetic or I have a heart condition, or wherever it might be, that can be put on this Smart 911 record for you that is totally private. Nobody sees it. I had, many years ago, I had problems with the wheelchair and everything. Yeah. I called 911. And I didn't call 911. I called the fire department in Villa Park. Yeah. And I said, what told me? They said, wait, we'll have somebody stop by and talk to you. Yeah. And he did. And they put all the stuff on the computer, everything that I had, medicine, like you said, handicap. Right. The front doors usually unlocked by call or something. Right. You know, and it's on the computer. When they're coming driving down the street, they're reading the computer. Right. You know. And they're totally prepared, or as much as they can be, put it on there, for the information that you have. So some people are resisting the use of Smart 911, saying, I don't want my information out there. It's like going to the emergency room and the guy asks you, well, or the girl asks you, what meds do you take? Yeah.
Why isn't that good to tell somebody before they start putting something else in your arm? You know, that's the nature of that. So I strongly urge people to look at Smart 911 and take advantage of that. I have, and my records for my cell phone and home phone are 100% complete.
Yeah, put your cell phone number on it too in case you call and tell.
Yeah. And let's describe the nature of cell phone 911 calls, because that's important. A lot of people get frustrated as you talk about.
We have no house phone no more.
Well, I know. So do I. We have it, but we don't use it. I have it in the house in case someone's there and needs to call for help. No. I don't use it. But the other thing is, when you call 911 from a cell phone in this area, what happens is that call is routed to DuPage County Sheriff's. Okay, it's not direct to DuCom. It's to the DuPage County Sheriff's dispatcher, and they will ask you right away, where are you calling? What town? Right. So you have to say Villa Park, Elmhurst, Lombard, whatever it might be. Then they switch you to the next dispatcher, which is the one that talks to DuCom's fire and police. And then you give them more information. They keep records of both steps, but the important part is when you get to the second person. So make sure somebody knows that, especially kids. You have to say what town if you're using a cell phone, and then they'll get you to the right person. You're going to say something, Sid?
No, well, you guys have gone way farther than I was. I just wanted to reminisce a little bit.
Go ahead.
And listening to an old fire chief that is no longer with us, and that was in the days of the volunteer fire department, and they elected their chiefs. And this was Elder Chessie, who was probably...
I've heard that name.
I knew him well, and I had nothing but the greatest respect for him.
Yeah.
But he had said one time, he said, boy, we sure wish we had something like that in the car back in those days. Because I remember one time I made a terrible mistake. I was driving a pumper, and I went to the south side of the northwestern tracks, and the call was on the north side. It was just like, it was that close, just almost on the tracks. And he said, I'll remember that till the day I die. Now with the smart stuff now, you have it so well. And later on, I don't know if it was then or later on, the police would answer every call, every fire call.
Right.
The patrolman would be there and identify the house, that the address, that was really the one that was called and not next door or someplace else.
Right.
In fact, that happened to me.
Yeah.
Again, this was years back.
Right.
But
yeah, and the police department, they're on the street, they're roaming around, they're doing patrolling and all that stuff, so they're usually the first ones on the scene. In fact, the VFW, and we'll go back to this because we talked about this before, when the VFW had that fire on May 29th, 2008, or 2012, who were the first two people in that building? Two Villa Park police officers, and they ran into the building with no air, no nothing. I won't say their name because maybe they'll get in trouble for that. But that's what they did, and I witnessed that, so I saw that. And they are typically the first ones there, or they are there right after to help with the scene. They're always on the scene, and that's great. And we've got a great police department as well. I tout the fire department because I get to chase them around. I'm privileged to do that. But the police department does a tremendous job. In fact, one of the earlier calls of the month that happened at Elmhurst Hospital is when someone drove into a pond at Eldridge Pond in Elmhurst, right off of Butterfield Road, and was saved by police officers diving into the water and bringing the guy out, and then on to the paramedics, and was eventually at the hospital. So lots of good things from our first responders. And finally, one other thing, our fire chief here, Ron Rakosnik.
Who?
Ron Rakosnik.
Okay.
Who's that guy?
Yeah.
Great guy, and he's been on the fire circuits, different departments, York Center and others, and now our Villa Park fire chief. Has been a firefighter for 40 plus years. He was just elected as the DuPage County Fire Chief President. Yeah. So he's representing Villa Park proudly in that regard as well.
And I would add congratulations, Ron.
Yeah, good guy. Talk to him frequently, and I enjoy every time I have a chance to see him.
He's always got a story.
He's good. Yeah, great stories too. And they're not, like what's the point?
No,
good stories.
He's got good stories.
Good stories.
Yes.
That's for sure.
You need history from DuPage County. You go to him for history.
Yeah.
About the fire departments. Yeah.
Yeah. Great guy.
That was, when DuCom started up, I was on the first commission.
Uh-huh.
Out in the bomb shelter at that time in DuPage County.
What are we talking? World War II? What are we talking?
No.
Cold War?
70s.
Yeah, Cold War.
Yeah.
The old fallout shelters and things like
That's
that.
right.
In town.
Bomb shelter.
That brings up something I want to talk about, because this building was a fallout shelter. And let me describe what a fallout shelter is. In the event of a nuclear attack, the debris that's thrown up into the air becomes radioactive, and then spread by wind will cause radioactive contamination in a wide area. And when I was in grade school, we had these drills that kids now have for active shooters, which is horrible, but these drills where we would duck and cover. You remember that phrase?
Yes.
Duck and cover?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And there'd be a drill where they'd say, okay, this is to simulate a nuclear attack. Oh my God. And what you had to do was get down underneath the desk.
Table, anything. Yeah.
And cover your head. As if that would help. I mean, it was just a farce, but that's what we did. And the fallout shelters were public places where people could go after a nuclear attack to be isolated from this debris that was radioactive fallout.
Okay.
And traditionally they were in basements. So one of them was here. They have a lower level that could be sealed and maintained with supplies for people for a number of weeks or days, and medical supplies. Mm-hmm. And it had a sign with a nuclear symbol on it that said fallout shelter. Do you guys remember where the other ones were in town?
Well, I know we had, our building was a fallout shelter.
The VFW here on St. Charles Road.
VFW, yes. And down
why? Because it has a basement.
Pardon?
It has a lower level.
The lower level.
That can be sealed. Right.
And there was barrels of water.
Yeah.
And I think packages of, I think it was crackers. I don't know. But
I can tell you. I'll tell you in a second what it was, because I know.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I know that it was down there for years and years.
Yeah. And Dennis, do you remember another one?
No, I don't.
Okay. Villa Park Trust and Savings Bank.
Okay.
The lower level. In fact, the sign lasted on that building longer than anything else. Jeff, the guy that owned the building. Jeff Real. Eventually took the sign down. I'm sure it's a keepsake for him, but it was to the right of the door.
Okay, now you talk about the Villa Park. Where was it at now? Tell the people where it's at.
Yeah, Villa Park Trust and Savings Bank, which is at 207 South Villa Avenue. It's the one with the eagles on the top and the big columns in the front. And was the original Villa Park Trust and Savings Bank, just a little bit west of Ovaltine's property. And that was another fallout shelter. And all of the telephone company buildings were fallout shelters. The Illinois Bell at the time in our area were fallout shelters, which is why I know about what was in that fallout shelter supply boxes that were there. Because my job when I worked at River Grove and Oak Park was to do preventative maintenance, which means I would go around and check things like the batteries, the water level in the batteries for emergency power. We would run the diesels in order to make sure that they could operate in the event that we lost power and keep the phones working. And one of the things was to go down into the fallout shelter room and make sure that the supplies were still there and appropriate for use. Now, the boxes were sealed, supposedly. Okay, and in those boxes was things like crackers, soup, canned food products, some first aid kits, okay, milk, okay, and water was a great part of it. So one day I said, you know what, I've done this 3-4 times. You did it like every month, and I said I got to see what's in those boxes. So I opened a box and saw the crackers. And opened a cracker and tasted it. It was horrible. I have no idea how long that stuff was there. But, you know, in the event of that situation, who cares how horrible it is? You need something, especially water, especially some medical supplies. And there's a whole protocol. You know, people forget this, but there's a whole protocol of how that fallout shelter would operate, and who would be in control of it. There was the civil defense. Remember this old civil defense had big CD symbols that would take care of that. They had their helmets and their megaphones and whistles and whatever to help the people. But it was a real scare at that time.
I hope you're telling your grandkids about these stories.
Well, I just did.
No, I think that I've been doing it for years, telling the grandkids, that Sid knows. What's VJ Day?
VJ Day?
Yeah.
Let's see, it was August 6th, I believe.
But what
was it?
VJ Day was the absolute surrender when the Japanese hierarchy in charge said, we will accept the terms of surrender that you have offered us.
Right, okay. And the critical part of what he said, VJ Day, Victory Japan.
And that
now
was
the VE. What was VE Day?
VE Day was Victory in Europe.
Okay. There you go.
When
See? And the kids, they learn it in school, but they have no idea what it means.
There's a lesson for you, school kids.
No, it is true. And, and the kids, my kids are smart aleck sometimes.
Yeah.
Oh, Grandpa remembers the Depression. I don't remember the Depression. You remember the Depression?
Oh, yeah.
See? 10 years made a difference. Sure. And tell your grandkids and tell your other kids, do a tape on it and give it to them.
Yeah.
Truthfully.
That's a great idea, and I like what you're saying about that.
That's good.
It's a great. The kids, they want to remember Grandma and Grandpa, but they want to remember your voice. They really do want to remember your voice. My father and mother, God bless them, they've gone. But I said, do you remember Grandpa? Well, I remember who he is and everything. I said, you remember his voice? No. So that's why I'm making tapes for these kids now.
Yeah.
And,
that's good.
And these kids, then they're sitting, and they'll talk to you. They really
I have done what you suggested, and I've kept the tape of my father. I've kept the tape of my mother.
Good for you.
And my mother-in-law who just passed. Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely have it. And it's a great idea. A picture is great.
A picture's wonderful.
But there's so much more.
I give them all albums,
Yeah.
I get 10,000 pictures. My wife, she takes a picture of everything, and we still got them. But they're on the computer. They're not doing no good on the computer.
Yeah.
But you got to make them and give them to the kids and sit and talk with the kids. They want to talk to you.
Yeah.
They really do.
Yeah, I totally agree. And sometimes, they'll roll their eyes because they're not interested, because they want to get back to their video games or whatever it might be.
Right now.
But I saw recently every once in a while the kids in college or students in college will go around with a camera and a microphone and ask questions of the student body about history. And just a couple days ago.
They don't do it in school no more, do they?
What?
Teach American history.
Don't know. But I'm sure they do, but it may be an elective versus a requirement, the way that is. But they went around with a microphone and camera, kind of like man on the street interviews.
Yeah.
And they asked the questions like, who won the Civil War? And they got blank stares because a lot of them didn't know what the Civil War was.
Right.
Okay.
VJ Day,
Yeah.
VE Day.
Right.
What is it,
And just very specific points or items in history. These are not, what battleship was in this battle or what army was in the battle. These are things like timeline points in our history. And they did not know who was in the Civil War. And then if they did, they said the South won. And they selectively picked the people that didn't know to make this video. But it's like, these are college-age kids. They don't know that. They don't have a clue. And then they asked them things about the Kardashian family. Bam, bam, they had all the answers.
But Grandma and Grandpa doesn't. Grandma and Grandpa doesn't.
I remember going into high school, and kids that were maybe a couple of years older, a year or two older, said, oh, that history is really boring.
Yeah.
And that made an effect on me, so I thought history was boring.
Yeah.
When I got out of the service, I had to take American history to get a GED.
Right.
And my God, that was so interesting. In fact, I remember the instructor was Ken Story, who later came to Willowbrook.
Yeah.
And how he had said later on that he learned more about American history because he had about 10 of us ex-GIs in there, and almost every place that he was teaching about, we learned local lore. One of us had been there for training or something like that, and learned the local lore, and you could tell him things. And that became very, very interesting to me. Now, and I became very interested when I was assigned to work in Fredericksburg, Virginia for a few months. And where I had Fredericksburg, Virginia, all I knew that was on the East Coast. Till I got there, and I found out that there was 4 major Civil War battles. Then I found out that there was over 125,000 people lost their lives. And there were still bullet holes in some of the buildings in Fredericksburg. I drove on Sunday, a day off, rare day off, that I went through what was a road through what was the Battle of the Wilderness. And I looked at that and I thought, my God, how did they were able to walk through, let alone get cannons and supplies through that
they dragged them. They dragged them.
And
it's crazy.
The things that they had to do. A little aside to that, my son Cliffy was 4, and the family came out there for a month, and I saw them usually at bedtime. But Billy had taken them in to visit some of the battlefields, like the Battle of Spotsylvania Courthouse or the Bloody Angle. And after they came out of the house, the
barracks,
the Park Service, where they had put on a diorama of what had happened in those days.
How they moved the troops.
Cliffy was hanging back because he was waiting for the bullets to come flying out of the woods. Then when they got to the Spotsylvania Courthouse and what they called the Battle of the Bloody Angles, he peeked over into what was left of the trenches that are maintained over there, and then he said, "Where's the blood?"
he bought it the whole story.
I thought, man, and Billy herself, my wife at that time, who was a teacher, thought, this is far better than anything I could have taught in school, in grade school.
I love history, and I've done a lot of my own, not for any class or anything like that, just to learn about history and understand it, and I enjoyed it when I was in a classroom. But the one thing that people keep forgetting is that your history and your history are 2 separate things.
That's right.
They combine in certain levels, but your experience is your history. There's not you are a historian when you tell your stories. You are a historian when you tell your, as I am. Okay, and to say that this is what happened, this is the historic record, is one story. It is not all of the history of that era or that time period. Think about World War II. Is the history of World War II about the Russian army? No. Is it about Adolf Hitler? Yes. Is it about the Russian army? Yes. Is it about the American army? Yes. Is it about Pacific? Yes. Is it about Europe? Yes. So all of those things combined, and each individual that was there on D-Day or that came across on a merchant ship or whatever the situation might be, has a story that's history. And history didn't start when the white man arrived in the United States. And so many stories about history say, well, when the pioneers arrived in the United States. Well, what about the American Indians? What about everything that happened before? Do you know that right here, less than 2 miles from this spot, there are shark teeth in rocks of what was going on in Villa Park and Elmhurst and Lombard and all of the surrounding area? In the Elmhurst quarry, there are shark teeth in the quarry wall that were embedded there from sharks swimming across this area. So tell me that history started with the white man arriving. That's crazy. That's insane.
That's when the history of the people who came arrived. But you're so right. The Indian battles. And Illinois was such a fertile spot that other tribes away from Illinois wanted to come here to plant gardens.
The property. Yeah.
I mean, wanted to, and there were wars over that.
Yeah.
And of course, the famous was of course Starved Rock, where one tribe, and I would not mention the name because I don't remember.
Right.
Were actually starved on top of that rock.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the Indians below knew that they could save themselves and save themselves trouble just by being patient.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and you know, we talk about,
again, that's history.
Yeah, we talk about history in the past, but let me tell you something. There's more history being created today for the future.
Oh, faster now than ever before.
Right, and more being collected of that. And let me give you an example of what we are doing to collect history of Villa Park. And part of it is what we're doing right now, having this conversation, talking about things, and putting a record out there of Dennis and Sid and Al, and with their comments and information, but also photographs. And you remember a while back we had a 100-year celebration here in Villa Park.
Yeah, we remember that. Yeah.
Okay, and that was to commemorate 100 years of incorporation of the village of Villa Park under its own entity. Okay, so when we became Villa Park in 1914, that's when the clock started. And so 2014 we celebrated 100 years history. We put in here at the Village Hall a time capsule, and it's got a seal in front here that has mementos from all the different departments. It's got things from the Historic Museum, it's got things from all of the organizations, the schools, the village, and others. And we put pictures in there from those that we've been taking over time. But let me tell you what we're collecting and where it's available. And you talked about what's on the computer. Yes. And that will become, for a while, a place to get and find things. We have 450 videos of things that have happened in Villa Park in the last 4 years available on our YouTube site. 450 videos.
Now, me and you argue different things, you know.
Yeah, go ahead.
How does Sid get onto the YouTube?
How does Sid? He uses a computer.
Okay, but once he gets on the computer, how do you find Villa Park on YouTube?
Well,
you know how it said?
No.
See?
Okay. Well, that's easily fixed. That's easily fixed.
No,
if you agree to allow it to be fixed. So let me allow me to fix it.
That's
okay.
Right.
You get on YouTube. Do you know what YouTube is?
Not really.
Okay. All right. Let's do that because that's important. YouTube is a public service where video is deposited for people to watch on their computer, on their cell phone, on their tablet, whatever type of electronic device they have. So we put, for example, this program will be on YouTube in the very near future, a couple days.
Now, who paid for YouTube?
The YouTube is paid for via sponsorship. But let me finish. Don't distract me. YouTube then is www.youtube.com. That's where you go. That's the address to get to that website. Once you get there, you then say, well, what are you looking for? They'll give you all of the popular things, the current things. What are you looking for? And you put on there TV Villa Park style. That's what Villa Park style.
VP.
No, TV Villa Park style.
Okay, see?
Okay?
Okay.
That's how you get it when you go to YouTube.
And I'm not on the camera right now, but I'm trying to write all of this down.
Here, go ahead, write it down. Said TV, like TV.
It was www.youtube.
Yeah, YouTube.
Okay.
youtube.com, C-O-M. Then search for TV Villa Park style. TV spelled out Villa Park style. TV.
VP.
No, TV. Television.
TV.
Villa Park.
Villa Park.
Style. Another word. And it will come up and it'll show the symbol for TV Villa Park. You click on that and it'll give you the whole page of what we have. Now, that is for what we do here at the Cable Commission, what I post on TV Villa Park Style's YouTube page. There's a second one for the government side, which is the Villa Park, Village of Villa Park.
No, don't go too far.
Wait, let me finish.
Do I get the board meetings on there?
That's where I'm going. That's where I'm going.
Okay.
TV Villa Park Style is the channel of all of the things we do. There's a separate channel for the Village of Villa Park on YouTube. and that is Villa Park board meetings. That's how you find that, Villa Park board meetings. And there we have all of the board meetings for 2015 and the 2 that were in 2016. And this next board meeting that was done yesterday will be on tomorrow. Okay? So you can watch the board meetings anytime you want. You can watch these 452 videos anytime you want, anywhere you want. You don't have to be on Comcast. You don't have to be on AT&T. You don't have to be on our streaming service. And you don't have to live in Villa Park. You can watch it anywhere. Okay? So people who have moved to another location, and many have, still interested in the business of Villa Park, can go on their computer, do what I just told you, and find the board meetings for the Village of Villa Park, and find all of the other stuff that we put out there for our channel, including this program.
Okay, now, okay? That was my mistake then. You know, I thought the board meetings, when they were on at Monday night, you were on YouTube. We can't, they're not on at the same time. Okay.
YouTube it's called video on demand.
Okay.
And a lady not too long ago, and I'll get back to you, Sid, because I know you want to ask something. A lady not too long ago, a mother of a child that was in the art show at Willowbrook High School. The District 45 did the art show at Willowbrook High School. I went out there and did video, and I interviewed this girl with Mom's permission. And then the next day, Mom calls me and says, so how do I watch it? Where do I see it? I want to see it. And I said, okay, it's on our channel at 9 o'clock. I, that day, put that video on our channel, on our cable channel, on Comcast and on AT&T YouTube at 9 o'clock. And the lady's reaction, which was very appropriate, was, I didn't realize that time mattered. Think about that. Mm-hmm. I didn't realize that I had to wait until 9 o'clock to watch it, is what she was saying. Which means you have to sit down in front of a TV set,
at 9 o'clock,
have those services at 9 o'clock and watch it. Okay? What she was saying is, I want to be able to see it on my computer anytime I want. I want to be able to look at my cell phone and share it with people at work anytime I want. And that meant it's on a service like YouTube, where you can go there 24/7, watch it. And the other thing is, the meetings at like the village board meetings, you have an agenda. You know, we get an agenda and it says, here's the items that we're going to discuss. If you watch it on our channel at 12 noon, we broadcast at 12 noon every day. If you watch it on our channel, you have to watch it from beginning to end if you want to see something at the end. Or you wait and say, I'll come back in an hour or whatever. Okay? On YouTube, you use your mouse and you click to different points along a line, and here's the start of the meeting, here's the end of the meeting. If you think, well, it's maybe in the middle, you click in the middle, you're watching the middle of the board meeting. You don't have to watch everything that happened before that. And you can watch from that point on, or you go back, you could search around and click wherever you want. So people that are interested in the presentation that was done by Rick Goldman about the garden station project.
Train station development.
The train that was last night at the board meeting, they'll see it at the beginning. But if they wanted to see what cars or vehicles are being auctioned off, that was later. You don't have to watch Rick Goldman, although you should. You don't have to watch that. You can go directly to, or guess at, where is that point in the show. So that's the difference. That's the nature of what people want. And I can tell you that since we've had the YouTube channel online, which was August 9th, 2011, so we're almost 5 years out, a little 4.5 years out, we have had 172,384 people view our videos. 172,384. And for YouTube, that's not a lot. For Villa Park, that is. Okay? And these are people around the world. They are not just Villa Park or surrounding communities. Could be anywhere in the world. Most of them are in this area because that's where the interest is. And to give you an example of...
That's 9 times our population.
9 times our population. Right. And in a year, or in a month, let me give you, that's all time. Yeah. In a month, just this last month, from January 10th until February 6th, yesterday, right? No, till February 6th, a couple days ago, 5,520. 1/4.
1/4 of our population.
Of our population is on YouTube watching our stuff.
Well, people move out of town. You're saying they want to watch it, you know.
Right, right. So this is or now increasingly more important than Comcast and AT&T Uverse in terms of us reaching out to the community. And let me tell you, what are people looking at? The all-time, this is funny, the all-time most watched video on our channel receiving 31,000 views is Summerfest 2011 Panda Express, How to Make Orange Chicken. All time. That's what people want to watch, okay? Do they want to watch the board meetings? Some, but this is what they want to watch. The next highest, 31,000 views, is Peter DeJacque, the Irish dancer.
Yes.
He did a solo dance at Summerfest, when he was three-time world champion. That got that is still 31,000 views.
And we had him on cable one night too.
Yeah, interview. Willowbrook basketball's got 5,000. Willowbrook football, 2,600. Heroin education, 1,000. We did a COD, College of DuPage homecoming. A lot of kids come and go to COD. We did a video of a football game there. 1,400 views. Life-size Candyland, the Park District does that. That's on top 10. 3,900 views. Shop with a Cop, when the Villa Park Police Department went to Venture, or not Venture, Target and Venture. What did I say, Venture? Target, and did shopping for people who were underprivileged. We got 842 views. And then, of course, Rob Zombie at the Odeum, I did an interview that got 1,600 views, and it goes on and on and on. But those are some of the top ones, and that's the direction where we're going. Now that's part of it, but the other part of it is we did a show last week, right? Who was our guest last week?
Angie.
Angie tell us who the guest was.
Pioneer
Garden and Feed, Angie Rojek, right? Okay, so we posted that entire program.
I didn't know the last name.
That's all right. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to put you on the spot. Angie's a nice lady, Angie Rojek. And she was a great guest. Good show. Talked a lot about gardening and how much birdseed.
10,000 pounds.
A week.
A week.
Jeez.
Birdseed.
You know, this is so impressive. I am in complete awe.
Aren't you? I mean, this is crazy stuff. There are changes going on, and we need to keep up with it.
Every day we learn something new, Sid. Don't forget.
This is fantastic. You know, I have been on this earth a long time.
Yeah.
And I feel like sometimes so much has just passed me by, gone over the head.
It hasn't. You're here. You're here. You've got a smartphone. You've got a computer. You can take advantage of this stuff. I'm going to help you. Hey, that smile. I like that smile. Let me finish this story about Angie Rojek. Angie Rojek, we did the Uptown Villa Park show last week, and great guest. I posted that video on YouTube. Okay? Then I took the way you get directly to that video, it's called the web address, and put it on Facebook, which everybody's on Facebook. There's billions of people, not you, but everybody else is on. Pat McAndrews, it's not an age thing. Pat McAndrews, our technician here, is totally against Facebook. And I said, okay, 1.6 billion people on the earth are wrong. You're right, Pat. You shouldn't be on Facebook. And he doesn't like that. But Facebook is very popular. There's a one page on Facebook that is called I Grew Up in Villa Park.
Yes.
Okay? And a whole bunch of people who have moved or stayed or still in Villa Park or grew up here and still live here are on that page, and they put all kinds of reminiscence. They put pictures of Washington school classes or Lincoln school classes, or do you remember this, Willowbrook, etc. So a lot of people can see this once you post it on there, okay? How many times has Angie's show, our show, Uptown Villa Park, been viewed since last week? Wednesday, not Tuesday, last Wednesday. So less than a week, 1,005 times on the internet. 1,005 times.
Yeah.
Okay? Now, we don't get Nielsen ratings for our cable channel.
No.
They say it's not available. Okay? We don't get it for AT&T Uverse.
No.
We get a little bit of data for the streaming online that happens, which is basically the same time as our other channels. But this is where we can tell who's watching. other than, you know, somebody that stops you. I know people stop you every once in a while and
they
say,
stop
I watch the show.
us. Yeah, they stop off us and they say, whatever happened to this or whatever happened to that.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and I was at a party, a couple of weeks ago, I was at a party, and the guy says, I recognize your voice, I don't know from where. And then it came back to me, he says, TV show.
That's right. That's right.
I didn't know who you were, but you know, the voice. You know?
It happened to me just last week. A gentleman that was retired from Willowbrook.
Yeah.
And is now making a career of motivational speaking.
Yeah.
And said, boy, I see you on television all the time. Well, not all the
That's
time,
great.
but I have to say not all the time. But
Yeah.
And we're going to have him as a guest.
Anytime.
Sounds good.
One of these days.
Sounds good.
You know
And
what?
another thing I wanted to bring, you know, I didn't realize it, but I had coffee with Jerry Hughes. And Jerry Hughes knows a lot about Villa Park. He's
Sure
on the
does.
Historical Society.
Good guy.
And I should
Curator.
have brought him along.
Is he a curator at the museum, Jerry?
Pardon?
I think he's the curator at the Villa Park
Yeah.
Museum.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and there's so many people there that are so good that we can learn about what happened in Villa Park.
Right.
From
I saw
various-
Jerry.
various-
The golf course had a party this year. They were 40 years old this year. And Jerry was at the golf course. And we were talking about everything else. I think he brought me a picture that I was turning over the first dirt at the golf course. When it was
Ah!
yeah.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Of who turned the dirt over? You?
The
Shovel
village
ceremony?
board. I was on the board at that time.
A shovel ceremony.
Shovel, you know, yeah. But
And you know, as a kid back in the 30s, that Sugar Creek Golf Course was Charlot's Slough, and it was a pasture for a guy by the name of Charlot who was farming and raising a few beef cattle. And as a kid, he had just gotten a new bull calf. And several of us said, oh, let's play rodeo. And we snuck into his barn, and we were getting, I think I was on the calf, we just got on it when he come busting through the door and chewed us out and chewed us all out. Then, after I got out of the service, I was at the DuPage Theater, went into the washroom and had a cigarette, and there was this, quote, old guy in the corner, and he said, I know you. And I said, oh, yeah. He says, yeah, I'm Charlot. I shagged you from my bull calf.
That's cool. That's cool.
We had quite a conversation after that.
Sounds good. Hey, I want to get back. We're winding down here. We got like 3 minutes left. Or 5 minutes left. I want to get back to some of the things that you related to earlier. We are doing ads, and I'm not looking for compliments. I just wanted to talk about this. We are doing ads on our channel that are for a not-for-profit organization called the VFW. And we're glad to do that, but we are doing ads called VFW Valentine's Day 2016. We're doing fish fry, and we're doing the wings ads. And what I mean by ads is in the past we would have like a flyer. Basically scrolled on the screen for a while, you read it, and then it would go away, and then there was another flyer. Related to all the things that people wanted to advertise, the library, the village hall, etc. Now we have changed those, so it's not like when you walk into a hotel and you put the TV on and you got this PowerPoint slide thing going. Menu. Now we have real video ads. All of them have been changed. We don't put anything other than the schedule on a static screen. And one of them is the VFW Valentine's Day, and I want to talk about that a little bit. It's about the Valentine's Day dinner that it's at the VFW this Saturday night, because we're taping this on Tuesday, February 9th. This Saturday night, February 13th, not Valentine's Day the 14th, and it's on Saturday night. And it's $10 per person. They're going to have a live band there, 2 guys at least in a band. So it's singing or dancing, cash bar, dinner, dancing. Great event for $10 a person. I'm a cheap date. I'd go there. What do you say, Sid? Is that a good date?
Al, you would be welcome, and you would be my guest.
Okay. I'm not dancing with you, Sid.
But no, I'm dancing with my walking stick.
Okay.
Yes, you're so right. That's a pork dinner that's coming out, and it was very successful when they tried it. Oh, I think it was in November sometime. Yeah. And we'll be there. We'll have raffles. They've got some beautiful prizes too coming along. The band is for dancing, as you mentioned, dancing, listening pleasure, toe tapping, however you wanted to do it.
And cash bars available.
And I'll be there where people can throw tomatoes at.
Good deal. Good deal. I got to tell you, I am so into this. I may show up. I don't know if my wife wants to show up, but I may show up. I got to tell you, I really struggled with this, doing this ad. You know, you got certain things that you can look at and say, well, I can use this piece, I can use that piece. And we have a service that I get these videos from. And I'm going, okay, pork dinner. I love pork. But pork just doesn't say romantic to me. I'm trying, how do I relate that to Valentine's Day? And I really had a problem with that. I looked at my wife and said, how do I do an ad for pork Valentine's Day and make it romantic, make it sexy? I tried. I don't know if I did.
Well, Al, viewing that video, I hate to have to suck up to you.
That's all right.
It was a very fantastically good job.
And we're
I
keep
agree
doing
with you that pork does not sound like Valentine's Day. Valentine's Day sounds like hearts and flowers and kisses and hugs.
Steak and lobster or something, you know, shrimp. But pork is good. I just had problems. I had trouble with that.
Pork is getting cheap.
No, I figure not steak and lobster or shrimp. I figure chocolates.
Chocolates, yes, candy and stuff like that.
That's more Valentine's Day. Now, of course, off the camera, we would have a lobster tail.
Yeah.
Prime steak.
Yeah.
That's prime steak, but you did a good job, and folks, we would. I would urge you to come. You can't get a dinner. You can't get a dinner that good with the pork with olive trimmings going. For anywhere else, you'd pay at least twice as much as $10.
Yeah.
And of course, booze is cash bar. It's a cash bar, but coffee is included, water is included. Anything. So.
We've been sitting here for an hour now. Al's got something in his hand. What is that, Al?
Thank you. I'm going to show this to you because this is kind of important. This time of the year, unfortunately, there's more and more house fires. And I've been to a couple here in Villa Park. We talked about some. There was another one yet after we talked about the ones last week.
There's one in Lombard.
Yeah. Yep. And I was almost one of those. Lombard was the garage fire. Everybody thought it was in Villa Park because the smoke was coming from Highland and St. Charles.
Yeah.
I was almost one of them. And this was a lesson learned. This is a potato masher. See it? You mash potatoes with this, and it's plastic. Okay? And you see it's burned. And how did it get burnt? Very innocently, this was placed into a dishwasher. Okay? And right along here is where it fell onto a heating element in the dishwasher, at the bottom of the dishwasher, and started to burn. And in that dishwasher, in the rack, was more fuel, more plastic cups and plates and things like that. And had this gone on too far, it would have become a fire in my kitchen. Why was it noticed? Because my wife was monitoring the dishwasher. And this type of thing can happen to you in your home in a dishwasher, or it could happen in your washer and dryer, especially your dryer. And this time of the year we have dryer fires. The lint that goes through the exhaust system gets clogged up, it ignites from the heat, and it starts a fire that burns down your house. So don't leave anything, any appliance that's running that generates heat alone. Don't start your dryer and go to work. Don't start your dishwasher and go to work, because you may not come home to a house. So that's my lesson learned. My wife is the hero. She's the one that found this, took it out and took care of it, and I'm glad she did. So thanks for bringing that up. Okay?
It's been on the table for an hour.
Yeah, now we'll throw it away.
Wow.
Folks out there, this is your show. We want to hear from you too. So if you have good ideas, you want to come and talk to us sometime, give me a call. Call the Village Hall and tell them, give me a message.
Yeah.
Or you can go on the internet on in Villa Park.
Yeah, invillapark.com.
And Cable Commission, and give us your name and address, and I'll get back to you.
Yeah, and you've been doing I got to compliment you. You've been doing a great job with guests. I've loved all of the guests that we've had.
Guests have
been great.
And they are you. So
yeah,
come talk to us.
Yeah.
We'll sit quiet for a few minutes so you can talk.
Sid, you got 30 seconds.
I've got 30 seconds to say this has been a very, very informative program for me. And even as as the old guy, the senior old guy here,
you got seniority.
That I'll just say I'm never too old not to learn something.
Every day.
Great point, and I urge all of the seniors out there in TV land, if you're watching us today, there's a meeting tomorrow at the Wildwood Community Center, which is by Lions Park, and it's the SALT meeting, S-A-L-T, Seniors and Law Enforcement Together. It starts at 10:30-ish, and the program starts at 11. Lunch follows, provided by the Villa Park Seniors Concerns Commission, but the meeting is held by the Villa Park Police Department, who will have a guest speaker talking about care of pain management and general health. So I hope to see you then, and we hope to see you next time. Thanks for watching.